Well, our next guest, familiar voice to listeners of this program. You know, she used to join us every Monday during the Big Five, during the panel. She joined us every Monday. And then the Quebec government gives her a call and says, Marlene, we need you. We need you to take the reins at the English Montreal School Board and lead this trusteeship. So she dropped us like a bad habit. But you know what? I still love her. Marlene Jennings, how you doing?
I'm doing well, and Elias, I still love you, even though you said I dropped you like a bad habit.
You know what I mean, Marlene. Anyways,
I do.
You're still a good friend of the show, but
I am.
that doesn't change the fact that, you know, listen, you've got an important role in the English community now with, you know, leading this trusteeship of the English Montreal School Board. I imagine it's a difficult position. First off, how is it going so far? Now you're getting in there. You've had to deal with this big decision this week. How are things going?
Things are going very well. When I first arrived, I wasn't sure what the reception was going to be from the personnel, the staff, the directors, all the way down to, you know, maintenance and caretakers. Mm-hmm. But I have to tell you, it was extraordinary. It was so warm. People were so happy. They were pleased with the decision by the government to put EMSB under partial trusteeship. Mm-hmm. And they were happy that I was the person who was appointed the trustee. Yeah. And we've been able to work together really well and I believe build real confidence and trust.
Uh-huh. So and you don't feel the sort of outsiderness has hurt you in any way? Like you're dealing with that and you're moving forward there at the board, even though you're someone that was brought in, right? So obviously there's got to be a little friction because of that.
There's no friction.
Great. Okay,
there
good.
There literally is no friction.
Okay, well that's very good to hear. Let's talk about the difficult decision.
Yes.
I have this sense, because Marlene, your reputation precedes you. So the sense that I get is that, you announcing this decision this week, people know it's a tough one, but I think the sense is that you really looked hard and long at all of the different options, and you just tried to be as logical as possible and try and make sure this is, the decision was as easy as possible for as many students, as many people, and to sort of keep the English Montreal School Board as vibrant as possible for the future. But it still must have been a difficult decision.
It was a difficult decision, but Elias, you put your finger right on it. Mm. The ultimate goal was to ensure that not only can we continue to give quality education to our students in the Northeast End, but to ensure the long-term vitality of the English Montreal School Board educational system and infrastructure in the Northeast End. Mm-hmm. It was a tough decision. I read all of the briefs that were tabled before the Long Range Planning Committee several times. I read them again the morning on Monday, went through them quickly again to make sure that my decision, that I was comfortable with my decision, that I was convinced that it was the right decision, the fair decision, the equitable decision, and the decision that will ensure our long-term vitality as an English educational system in our Northeast End.
And speaking of that long-term vitality, I don't know I don't know how long you're going to be at the EMSB. You probably don't know how long you're going to be at the EMSB, right?
Well, I do know. My mandate ends on May the 6th.
But they're going to ask you to re-up, right?
Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. Well, listen. If I had to bet today, I'd say you'd be extended. That's if I was a betting man, and I'm not. Okay. So let's say we're looking towards the future, okay? Yes. And you're looking towards vitality. As you closed 3 schools this week, you also, you made some waves by saying that English-speaking immigrants should be allowed to go to English schools. You've said as much, by the way, on this program at 9 o'clock in the panels. You've said it before.
Yes, I have. But I say it again.
But, you must also know that this doesn't seem, the CAQ government, and Simon Jolin Barrette in particular, doesn't seem like a guy. It seems to me like he'd be more likely to say, as of next year, people need to line up and deliver applications via courier to get into English schools than to open it up, right? So how do you think you can sway this government?
Oh, I mean, the Minister for Education, Mr. Roberge, responded immediately. The answer's no.
Okay.
Period.
Yeah.
But that's not going to stop me to continue to advocate as a trustee of EMSB, because I think that I have that responsibility. But once my mandate is over, I'm going to continue to advocate that our government has a responsibility towards our English-speaking minority communities that have the constitutional right to control and manage education. But it also has a responsibility for the entire English-speaking minority communities across Quebec to ensure that we don't disappear, that we don't become further and further diminished, that we are vital, and that we have a real vitality that allows us to continue to thrive. And that means sometimes that government, regardless of which party is in power, needs to take decisions that might be not so popular with the majority, but are necessary in order to respect their constitutional responsibility towards its English-speaking minority community.
When I speak to government members in the CAQ government and I bring up something like this, like something, to me it sounds very modest. Hey, English-speaking immigrants, they're from English countries, just give them an entryway into English school system. And the response is, no, you want to open up, you really want to go to opening up Bill 101? You really want to go there? What else could we do? Blah, blah, blah. In your opinion, your estimation, you've looked at the laws, you've looked at this. Do you need to reopen Bill 101 in order to allow this pathway that you're asking for?
No.
But
under the Education Act, it stipulates that in order to be able to go to English schools, you have to have been, you or a parent or a sibling has to have been educated in English somewhere in Canada.
Yeah, in Canada, right? But if they're not from Canada, that door is not open.
If you arrive today, from Jamaica as a permanent resident, the only language that you've ever known is English. You have no choice.
That's
Your
right.
children have to go to French school.
Yeah.
Now, and what I'm advocating is the choice. In the same way that I, born and raised in Quebec, have a right to decide, am I going to send my child to English school I'm going to send them to French school. I have that right, and many English-speaking parents have made the choice to send their children to French school.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other discussion about how we convince them to send their kids to our schools, the English schools, instead.
Another discussion for another day. Marlene, we're out of time, but I do want to thank you for coming on the program, and we'll have you back real soon.
It's always a pleasure, Elias.
All right, Marlene, love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
How many interviews end with love you and love you too, huh? Isn't that great?
Yours is the only one.
Yeah, it's just great. And it's only with you I could pull this off. Thanks, Marlene. Marlene Jennings is a trustee in charge of the trusteeship of the English Montreal School Board.